Profitability and efficiency is about identifying where are the pain points, because there are people who run their businesses and they talk to us. I told you we've been doing this thing for about 25 years, and they tell us, I can't put a finger to it. Something is not very right, but I can't tell what. And so this course is going to help you to identify what are those areas. Shida ni nini? Shida iko wapi? And then from there, we can begin to tackle them. So this course, by the time we get to the end of this webinar, of course, there are certain things that you should be able to clearly explain. And one of them is profitability. If somebody asks you, what is profitability? You'll be able to answer. And then we want to see how we can measure profitability. There's an old adage that says that what you cannot measure, you cannot manage. And so we want to see how we can measure that. And then we want to give you some suggestions or recommendations of some things that you can do in your business to ensure that you tighten, that you become more profitable, the bottom line. So that's what we want to do. Remember that this is course 10. We have been talking, a lot on these platforms. We have been engaging. And so as I'm speaking to you this morning, I know that you're not green. You've been logging in two times a week. So we are just, putting this together and wrapping it up. So when we talk about profitability, when you look at that word, it looks big, but you can break it down. And when we break it down, we can derive two words from that word: profit and ability. And so when we're talking about profitability, this is where unajipima nguvu. You are assessing the strength of your business, of your organization. And really, it is the capability of your business. And you see, who's running the business? It's you. So it is the capability of your business to generate profits from business operations. That's what profitability is. It's actually as simple as that. And so we can define it, we can use a definition there that you see in front of you. And when we talk about profitability, it is the ability of the business to utilize its resources in a way that can generate more revenue than what it must pay in terms of expenses. So basically, we are saying the same thing. Sometimes I like to give you simple examples, because or simple definitions, because when I'm teaching, it's not about cramming. I don't like people cramming. I like people understanding. So if you walk away with ability to generate profit, uwezo wa kuzalisha faida kwa biashara yangu, bas, you have gotten it. And one of the measures that we use to calculate profitability is the profit margin. And this profit margin is not new to us who have been in this safari. I'm sure that you have encountered this. And profitability, a profit margin, we can define it as the percentage profit that a business makes on every shilling that it sells. So for horticulture, it looks like there's a lot of sales revenue. It looks like the profit is the most, but we want to go down for every single shilling or for every naira that you sell in terms of, a sale, because we're in business because we want to exchange our products and services for money. Go down to that denomination and see how much of that, what is my ability to bag or to keep the profit in my pocket. Because you see, of course, when you're running your business, there are also costs, yeah? And that's why we are saying profitability is a measure of efficiency. And a profit margin is one of those measures, the most common measure that we use to assess profitability. So here in front of you, you can see a formula. We must calculate profitability so that we can be confident to speak what we are saying. And so you can see there that the formula, you take profit, you calculate profit, we have calculated the profit, and then express it over the sales. Why? Because you want to see what portion of profit am I able to keep in my business, in my bank account, without, spending? What portion of that? So you multiply by 100%. And so you can see that there's an inverse relationship between cost and profit margin. That means when we talk about efficiency, we are asking, what are these things? What are these decisions that you're taking at the business to ensure that you push down your costs? That is a measure of efficiency. We can say that it is important for you to calculate profitability. Why? Because it will help you to see whether you're running your business efficiently or not. It will help you to identify areas where you need to do some cost control. Is it in terms of production? Is it in terms of overheads? How are my overheads looking like? Is it in terms of my non-operating expenses, my taxes, my how am I managing my loans? Because when you don't do that, you spend more money. So where are those areas where I can make decisions to ensure that I apply and implement cost control? Another benefit why it's important for you to really look at profitability is because at the end of the day, you want to look at that bottom line. So what is the ability of the business to deliver on that bottom line figure, which you're going to use and plow into the business going into the future? And that doesn't just happen. So as you're running your business, you shouldn't be surprised, oh, we don't have a profit this year, we have a loss. No. Somebody who has understood profitability makes it their business to ensure that there is a return in the business and that the business is growing, that thing we talk about, retained earnings. That's what we're talking about. Calculations around profit margin will help you to see which is the most profitable product or business unit or shop or branch. And you just simply take those two numbers, express them, get the percentage. And that simple calculation will open your eyes to see how well you are doing or otherwise. Calculating profitability will help you, to identify how is it that we have very low profit margins. Shida ni nini? Is it possible that we are not pricing right? And if we're not pricing right, what then? And I'm here to give you some suggestions of how you can do that. So you can identify, where are we in terms of our strength? Where are we struggling? And measuring your profitability is really going to help you. It will go a long way in helping you to run your business better. Are we together, guys? Tuko pamoja? If yes, please go to the chat box and encourage me and tell me, yes, Sarah, we are together. So I want to remind you of the profit and losses statement that we talked about in one of those earlier courses. And you'll remember that there are three, it looks like just one statement, but there are three areas that we really look at, because there are three indicators of profit, as you can see: gross profit, operating profit, and then you can see the net profit. So the first part, where you take your sales and you remove the cost of sales, gives you an indication as to your production efficiencies. And then the next portion, up to operating profit, gives you an indication as to your cost control. How are you controlling your overheads in the business? And then, and we've been sharing strategies of some things that we can do to streamline that as we've been walking this journey together. And then the last part actually tells you whether the business will be able to not only pay the operating costs, but also the non-operating costs, things like taxes, things like interest and so on, and still be left with something. We want to look at some ways of how you can improve on the profitability of your business. And that's what we want to look at. And there are 5 areas that I want to give you some tidbits. And I think I will have helped you. I'll have gone a long way in helping you. Now, let's just look at them one by one, and let's look at pricing. Now, we are all in business, and there's a certain price that you have set for your products or for your services. But the question is, why that particular price? And that's what we want to question, the rationale behind that, so that you don't find yourself in a place where when you calculate your margins, they're just not making sense. And we're saying that's why maybe there could be an issue or a challenge as far as your pricing is concerned. Now, since last year, 2020, and now this year and so on, we've seen all of us have been affected in one way or another as a result of this global pandemic that we are going through. And we have seen that our customers have become quite sensitive about pricing. And so the truth of the matter is that pricing can either make or break you as a business person. And that's why I want to share some tips with you so that you can get that pricing right. And you see, you're pricing different prices for different products, different places, different customers, and so on. You've got to watch out when it comes to your pricing, because if you price very high, if you'll be perceived as somebody who is taking advantage of customers in the marketplace. And people don't forget, easily, and they don't take this lightly. They will cross over to the competition, and winning them back is going to be quite an uphill challenge. And so when we are setting our prices, we need to make sure that they're not too high, because there's a way you can reduce, you can play around with your prices, reduce kidogo, and you're able to push more volume. And at the end of the day, there are certain factors that you need to consider. When you're setting the price as far as cost is concerned, also look at the forces of demand and supply that are taking place, in the market. And then if there's short supply, there's an advantage there for you to increase your price, but don't price gouge. And then when there's abundant supply, then you can reduce your prices and so on. It will also depend on the season. What season is it? Schools have closed, kids are home. In the next 2 weeks or so, they'll be back to school. So what tends to happen to the price of uniforms, geometrical sets and so on, at that time? Jimmy, can you hear me? Jimmy?
Can hear you, Sarah.
Okay. I thought there was a glitch there. So you need
for 1 second.
You need to consider the cost. Then the other thing that you need to consider is the customer. Who is this customer? It is very important for you to know the profile of your customer. Am I dealing with a corporate customer? Am I dealing with a retailer? What are the preferences of my customer? Do they want me to deliver to their doorstep? So you see, the prices that you're going to set are going to be different depending on the profile or the needs and preferences of your customer. The other thing that you're going to consider is the product features. And you'll agree with me that when your items are packaged in smaller denominations, the smaller denomination packets tend to have a higher, profitability, because you're able to make more money from those small items as opposed to bigger ones. Product features, we're talking about quality. Is there a mark of quality? Because I am prepared to pay that price when I can recognize that KCB's mark, for example, that it has been vetted by Kenya Bureau, Kenya Bureau of Standards, and that it meets the required standards, those ISOs and so on. The other thing that you want to consider is the competition. And this is where I heard you saying we consider the industry price, what are people selling out there and so on.